Thanks for joining us on Midday. I'm Jordan Burrows in for Brian Carlson.
And I'm Courtney Johns in for Jillian Smuckler. One Utah family is back home after narrowly escaping the floods in Yellowstone and Red Lodge while vacationing in the area. ABC4's Ali O'Rulian talked to the family about what happened, and she's live in West Jordan where they just got home. Ali, how did they make it out?
Well, Courtney, it took quick thinking and the kindness of a stranger for the Woodbury family to narrowly escape Red Lodge, Montana. And for this family in particular, being stuck in that small town without the proper medical equipment and medication would have caused a dire situation. In need of a getaway, Anne and Kent Woodbury and their two sons, Michael and Chad, decide to stay in quiet Red Lodge, Montana before setting their sights on Yellowstone. But after a couple of days, things quickly changed.
And as we drove through Red Lodge to exit, we could see all these police cars and barricades. And we tried to go out one way and we couldn't go out that way.
Red Lodge was flooding, and fast.
And we saw houses out in the middle of the river as we're coming down the canyon that were completely isolated from the shore by the water.
Bridges to Yellowstone flooded, forcing them to turn back, stop at a rest stop where a kind stranger offers crucial advice.
That bridge you just passed over is the only exit from Red Lodge. All of the bridges have been washed out.
He says they don't have much time.
You probably only have 2 hours before this bridge washes out.
But for the Woodburys, being stranded isn't an option.
Our family all has a rare disease called myotonic muscular dystrophy.
The disease affects muscles across your body and your brain, which requires a lot of medical equipment and medication.
They've been stranded without medication that treats some of the symptoms of their disease.
The Woodburys race back to their hotel, pack up the necessities, and check into the only hotel they could find out of town. The family feels lucky to be home safe, getting back just last night after escaping a scenario that could have been tragic.
It was just nice knowing that we all made it and that we were all together in our car heading home.
Thankfully, the Woodburys are safe. They're a little bit exhausted, got in at about 10 p.m., but they are now home. Reporting live in West Jordan, I'm Ali O'Rulian, ABC4 News.
Thank you, Ali. More lawmakers are expressing their outrage against Utah County Attorney David Leavitt. His political opponents and former politicians held a press conference yesterday to voice their concerns. Some legislators say they're worried about Leavitt being in office. Leavitt's opponent, Jeff Gray, says Leavitt can't be trusted or lead the Utah County Attorney's office appropriately. He says it's troubling that he was never named by the Utah County Sheriff as a suspect for ritualistic child sex abuse.
It disturbs me that David Leavitt commented on that investigation. It's still, I can't imagine why he would do so. I mean, he's the only one that has named himself as a suspect. Sheriff Smith has not.
This follows Leavitt's claims that leaked documents connect him and his wife to allegations of cannibalism and murdering children. He says this is a political ploy too close to the election. Leavitt, however, is now responding to what he calls false allegations from his political challengers. Leavitt tells ABC4 he's wrongfully accused in the investigation into a ritualistic child sex abuse case. He says he came forward without being officially named in the investigation because he was tipped off. He denies any criminal activity and any wrongdoing. He calls the investigation into him and his wife, quote, absurd, with the primary election less than 2 weeks away. And you've called the allegations ludicrous, outlandish, 100% not guilty. Do you still stand by that now?
Well, of course. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous to assume that anyone in Utah County is cannibalizing and murdering children.
Leavitt, Jeff Gray, and Jeff Pomeroy are the three names on the ballot, but Pomeroy withdrew from the race. The full interview with Leavitt is on our website, abc4.com, and also there you'll find Jeff Gray's whole press conference.
And the recent arrest of an accused white supremacist group in Idaho that landed 6 Utahns in jail is now putting the spotlight on how hate groups recruit their members. The nonprofit Southern Poverty Law Center says the supremacist group Patriot Front and others have upped their recruiting in recent years. The Law Center says Patriot Front has put up hundreds of flyers in Utah since 2018, most of them at local colleges.
There's also a lot of activity online and appealing to folks who may be vulnerable to white nationalist messages, grievances, and a sense of losing power.
The Western State Center, which advocates for discriminated people, also tells ABC4 News they saw a spike in bigoted or conspiracy content online when the pandemic began, and they say that left isolated young people more vulnerable to hate group recruiting.
Okay, now turning over to weather. It's definitely a nice day today, but the next couple of days, Bob Bedore, could get pretty grossly hot.
Well, it depends on what you think is grossly hot. Could be, a steam room. Good for some people. But taking a look right now, you can see, as Jordan said, it's been a beautiful, beautiful day. Going to continue to be that right outside the ABC News headquarters here. We can see the flag just blowing slightly. The wind has died down, especially down south, which is very good. And you can see a high pressure system that we have over the state right now cleared the way. It's gotten rid of the clouds, gotten rid of everything. Looking at a lot of beautiful blue skies. In fact, we can take a look at some of them right now. Alta just looking beautiful there as that little bit of snow we had last weekend already going away. And then let's move this. St. George. Well, St. George appeared very quickly and then went away. It was shy. But you saw the blue sky, and you can see the good temperatures we have right now. 60s, 70s through most of the state, 80s down south, and it's going to continue to be that for the rest of the day. We've got 98 for a high in Salt Lake, 77 in Salt Lake, 98 in St. George. I'll tell you about that gross stuff he was talking about in about 10 minutes. Back to you.
All right, I guess I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Bob. Well, Utah water leaders say Lake Powell's water levels are horrible, and they're trying to work on finding a long-term solution. It's been about a month since the Bureau of Reclamation began releasing water from Flaming Gorge to Lake Powell to prop up water levels that have been dangerously low. The Colorado River Authority says despite a small rise in water levels, Lake Powell is still only at 27% full.
We are chasing this emergent hydrology, and so we come up with these band-aid solutions. You've seen releases out of Flaming Gorge that will address the current low reservoir elevations at Lake Powell, and we also saw the Secretary of Interior say, look, I'm going to hold back water at Lake Powell. So those two things combined should shore up the elevations for this year, but we're limping along.
Leaders describe this as a system out of balance, saying officials need to start thinking about lasting operations for Lake Powell.
Happening now, police need your help to find a group of suspected burglars in Murray. Take a good look at these surveillance photos that Murray police posted on social media. Police say these people went into a business and stole items from that building. Police hope someone watching this morning will recognize them. If they look familiar, call police at the number at the bottom of your screen. A woman is arrested here in Utah for stealing the identity of a dead baby. She used that ID in a $1 million fraud scheme. Federal officers arrested 49-year-old Ava Miseldine from Ohio on federal charges for stealing that baby's identity. The infant died back in 1979. According to U.S. Attorney's Office in Ohio, she used the baby's ID to get a passport, then a job as a flight attendant, and received close to $1.5 million in fraudulent pandemic relief money. They say she used this money to buy 2 homes, one in Utah near Zion National Park. It cost nearly $650,000.
A Bountiful man is in jail accused of kidnapping his 3-year-old daughter. Police say the man has a criminal history of domestic violence, assault, and stalking. Officers say they went to his house on Monday on a court order to remove his 3 children, and that's when they say he ran away with his 3-year-old daughter. Officers found them a few blocks away from the home. They say he would not listen to police and started fighting with officers, so they tased him. He's now facing a long list of charges, including child kidnapping and assaulting a peace officer.
Kaysville police are trying to prevent people from possibly stealing or vandalizing pride flags during Pride Month. Kaysville police encourage people online saying, quote, "A big part of what makes America great is our constitutional rights, and we hope that in Kaysville, everyone is able to safely express their First Amendment rights," end quote. Each year, the nonprofit group Project Rainbow puts up 5,500 flags for the LGBTQ+ community during Pride Month. They anticipate each year about 550 flags will either be ruined or stolen.
It just shows that the need is there, and it's important for us to stay visible and vocal and show that we're not going anywhere.
Project Rainbow will replace any stolen flags. Kaysville police encourage you to contact them if someone's flag is stolen or vandalized. A Juneteenth flag is now waving in downtown Salt Lake City. Leaders from the Black community met with Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall to commemorate the newly adopted federal holiday. The day recognizes the anniversary of June 19, 1865. That's when word of freedom finally made it to those enslaved in Galveston, Texas. This Sunday will be the first year Juneteenth is officially recognized as a federal holiday. Leaders at yesterday's ceremony recognized the importance of remembering that day.
Importance of truth-telling, that reckoning we need to have with our past in order for us to move forward and vibrantly into our future.
Leaders are encouraging the community to learn more about Juneteenth by getting involved in celebrations planned across Utah. The Juneteenth flag is now flying at the Salt Lake City and County building in honor of the holiday. For a full list of Juneteenth events happening throughout the state, you can visit our website, abc4.com.
Behind the Badge, brought to you by Big O Tires.
What's it like being a new police officer? Well, ABC4 News talked to one officer in Woods Cross who's just barely starting the job and was more honest than you may expect. ABC4's Brian Carlson caught up with her for today's Behind the Badge.
When it comes to new police officers,
do you have your license on you?
It doesn't get much newer than rookie patrol officer Brianna Hill in Woods Cross.
I'll be right back with you.
She just barely completed her in-field police training.
How long ago did you finish your training?
Just a week or two ago.
So you're fresh on the job?
Yep.
Officer Hill just switched careers to become a police officer. For the last 7 years, she's been a medical technician at Intermountain Medical Center in Murray, but decided she wanted a job more hands-on with people.
I always wanted to be a police officer. I always had the most respect for them and watched them doing their jobs, and I wanted to be like them.
So last fall, she made the switch, and now she loves her new job, but admits it's been a bit jittery, especially her first time pulling someone over.
My first call was a traffic stop. It was nerve-wracking trying to remember what to say, how to approach people, trying to watch everything all at once.
Who was more nervous, the person you pulled over or you?
Probably me.
After overcoming a little beginner anxiety, she's now getting the hang of it.
I like to patrol the neighborhood to make sure everyone's safe and everything's going okay.
And hopes to become one of the best to wear the badge.
I want to be better at my job and be able to be the top.
In the meantime, she's using each opportunity to hone the skills needed to better protect the people she serves.
That was anchor Brian Carlson reporting. Now, one of the things Officer Hill says she hopes people know about police is they're not there to be the bad guy and just write tickets. There are a lot of laws they have to follow, and they have to be very careful about what they do. She says in the end, the goal is to help you.
Still ahead on Midday, what the Federal Reserve plans to do to combat rising inflation and an unsteady economy.
Then FDA advisors meet to discuss the latest on the coronavirus pandemic and a possible vaccine for children as young as 6 months old.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast. Weather Rate certified 11 years in a row.
Well, welcome back. It has been an amazing day. In fact, if we just look over the Red Cliffs Lodge, Moab Cam right there, we just missed some people canoeing down the pathway there and down the Colorado River. It was looking good, but it has just been great. In fact, I put all of our headlines into songs because it's the kind of day you sing about. It's been a beautiful day, but that heat is coming. Like Jordan talked about earlier in the cast, the heat is coming. Some like it hot. Windy, that wind is coming back today, nice and calm, but tomorrow coming back, and chances are we could be seeing some moisture across a lot of the state as we get into this weekend. But let's take just another moment and see just what's going on. This kind of high pressure system we have right now clears away the sky, makes everything nice and warm, brightens everything up. Look at that. The Cedar City Airport, planes have been going in and out of that all day long, and it's been a beautiful sky to fly in for them. Temperatures looking really good as we are in 60s and 70s through most of the state right now. St. George and Lake Powell in the 80s. They're going to be going up a little bit, but it's going to be nice to look at that word right now as we watch the weather for you today. That rebounding temperature coming back, and we're seeing that nice weather, but it's going to start getting above average starting tomorrow. St. George will be about 105, 106 tomorrow, and then those temperatures are going to rise up even more as look at what goes crazy on Friday. We've got hotter temperatures, we've got windy, we got dust blowing around, we've got a chance for some moisture. We've got a lot that we'll be keeping our eyes on for you, so we'll try to get you cued into what's going on. But let me show you what's going on through the rest of the country right now. If you take a look at this, you can see most of the United States right now in a lot of heat, and especially in the east. Just wanted to show you this because this gives you a good idea of what's happening on Friday. Look at this southern flow that we've got coming up right now. That's going to be bringing a lot of that warmth, and that's what's going to make the temperatures go, but it's also bringing other things like this. This Thursday that we've got coming up, it looks like a giant pickle. That's some rain coming up through New Mexico, and it's going to make its way over to Utah, where we are going to see finally Blanding in eastern Utah. Good chance of getting some moisture coming in, and that's going to increase through the rest of the state. Also want to show you the wind. See, nothing much right now, and usually at this time it gets pretty bad, but it's good on Wednesday. But look what happens on Thursday. Starts to increase there. You're seeing temperatures near 30 miles an hour, and then Friday, boom. A lot of the state covered in near 50-mile-an-hour winds, so we're going to watch out for that. A lot of dust blowing could make visibility bad. Fire conditions obviously bad. Regionally wise, looking pretty good. 70s, 80s through most of the state. But looking at St. George extended, you can see that they're going to be in those hundreds again Thursday, Friday, but a chance of rain coming to them on Sunday. And along the Wasatch Front, we're looking at chance maybe PM on Saturday. On Sunday, those temperatures going up and down a little bit, so it's going to be a crazy kind of time to take care of. And if you want to keep track of all the weather, well, we luckily have an app that can help you with that. It's our Pinpoint Weather App. You can download it on the App Store, Google Play. Use those QR codes right there. You can have weather with you on the go.
And in consumer news, there are growing concerns around the economy and inflation. The Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates again today, higher than expected.
It's all in an effort to try to slow down inflation. ABC's Ika Jachi is in Washington with more.
This morning, the rising prices of goods and services continues to tighten its grip on American families.
Got 3 kids, 2 teenagers and a young one, so anything helps. We barely make it, and I get paid pretty good at my job.
Families are now spending nearly $350 more every month than they did for the same things last year. Gas is up $5 a gallon, around 50% higher from last year. Groceries are up too, almost 12%, and rent up 26%. Marilyn Bailey is retired, but the rising cost of her rent now has her looking for work.
I'm looking for a part-time job at 75.
The Labor Department says producer prices rose 10.8% last month compared to the same time last year. The Federal Reserve responding. They're expected to raise the cost of borrowing by 0.75 points, all in hopes of slowing down the economy.
This inflation is very painful, and it has to come down. So the only way of doing that is getting those interest rates up and slowing the growth rate in the economy.
That economic slowdown means the cost of credit cards, car loans, and mortgages will rise even more at a time Americans are already seeing rising prices for just about everything. President Biden in Philadelphia Tuesday reminding Americans that unemployment remains at record lows, but pushing back at his critics who say his administration's spending policies, including pandemic stimulus funds, fueled this inflation.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives. Jobs are back, but prices are still too high. Our work isn't done.
The Federal Reserve is trying to tame current inflation without plunging the economy into a recession. But some experts warn the country may still be headed for one anyway. Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
Now here at home, some Utahns are worried if they can afford to retire with inflation continuing to get worse. This week, the S&P 500 fell into a bear market. That's when stocks dropped by 20% or more from their prior peak. That has people with 401ks and stock-heavy retirement accounts panicking. Local financial experts are trying to calm their fears.
You never know when this is all going to turn around and go back up. Markets are cyclical. They always turn around. The best advice we can give is hold on for the long ride.
Financial experts say bear markets often don't last long. Some predict we could see a change in the next 12 to 18 months.
And now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. FDA advisors meeting today to consider 2 vaccines for children as young as 6 months old. This comes as the country currently averages more than 100,000 new cases a day. Many states reporting an increase in new infections. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
Some of America's youngest could soon be protected against the coronavirus. An FDA advisory panel meeting today to review data on Moderna and Pfizer's shots for kids between 6 months and 5 years old.
We have to be careful that we don't become numb to the number of pediatric deaths because of the overwhelming number of older deaths here. Vaccine-preventable deaths are ones that we would like to try to do something about.
The decision would impact 18 million in that age group, the last group of Americans still not eligible for a COVID vaccine. The FDA says both vaccines preliminarily appear to be safe and effective, producing similar antibodies against the Omicron variant as the adult vaccines. Pfizer is given as a 3-shot series and Moderna's is 2 doses. This meeting comes just a day after the same panel unanimously voted in favor of Moderna's vaccine for 6 to 17-year-olds.
With respect to the benefits outweighing the risk, I believe the answer is clear and certainly very supportive.
New COVID-19 cases are going up in parts of the country. About half of U.S. wastewater sites are currently reporting increases. The CDC estimating Omicron subvariants BA4 and BA5 have tripled in the last 2 weeks. Scientists closely monitoring this uptick. And back to those shots for America's youngest, the CDC will have to give the official green light before they're authorized for emergency use. The White House saying we could see shots in arms as early as next Tuesday. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
All right, as we head to the break, let's take a live look outside. That's at St. George. More midday after the break.
Welcome back. Okay, so this is the story people have been talking about all
It's
morning.
a good one.
It's
Worth
a
it.
good one.
Yeah.
The video is the best. So a goose in South Jordan is making quite a name for itself.
Okay.
Take a look. Okay, so over the last 5 weeks, this goose has been terrorizing people living in front of a home in Dayton. Look at that.
Well, yeah, so he walked out of the house clearly to see what was going on, and then that goose was super protective.
Mm-hmm.
But what do they call him again?
Gangsta.
Yeah,
the
gangsta
goose. So they say he's not just being mean, he's protecting a mama duck and her nest of eggs. It's incredible. I mean, even the people running by are running a lot faster because of that goose.
Have you ever had a goose do that, flock its wings at you? And it's kind of it is a little scary.
I mean, it works. You run away, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's gotten so bad that the homeowners say that they were even afraid to walk out their front door, afraid that goose would attack, and clearly it is.
You know, geese have really sharp teeth too, so
How do you know
I'd be
that?
afraid. I had an incident on a golf course where I might have hit a goose with a ball.
So you learned your lesson.
I did learn my lesson. Rest in peace to that goose.
Did the goose learn his lesson?
You sure did.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Midday. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good day.